One, two, one, one, two, one, two, one, one, two.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of Artists Under Construction. My name is Moves Johnson.
And I'm Neon Tom. Today, we are going to take up some of the homework that we've assigned in our first couple episodes of Artists Under Construction.
Yes!
So in our first... Yeah.
I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm pretty excited. I've never taken up homework from our show before, so this is our inaugural homework episode.
We told you guys we would be getting back to you about the homework, and we are doing it piece by piece. Anything we assign to you, we're going to do ourselves. We would never ask you to do something that we also wouldn't at least try, you know?
Yep. So in episode 1, we talked to our good friend, Mr. Red Dragon, Mr. Mike Gibbs, and he gave us some homework that involved networking with people inside your artistic community.
Indeed. And we were talking to him about just meeting new people and trying to expand your horizons, which I think is a really good first piece of homework. I think it's a great a great way to like start your career, especially because some people are coming at this from like some people have been doing their art for a lot longer and some people are starting fresh, right? And I think really, if you're starting fresh, this is a great place to start, is just meeting new people and connecting with new people. So,
yeah. And the exact homework, he asked the audience to reach out, to network with somebody in their artistic community, to just sort of reach out to somebody you haven't talked to before. And if you were already thinking that was a little bit daunting, maybe the examples that we did will help sort of make it seem more realistic for you and show you that it's not actually that scary.
Yeah, exactly. It's, again, like we wouldn't ask you to do something that we weren't comfortable doing ourselves. And I think one of the biggest things for new artists is that they're afraid or they're uncertain and they don't know necessarily how to go about doing certain things or achieving certain things. So it's not as big of a deal as it sounds. It's not as it's not as scary as it might seem to be. So Tom, who did you actually speak to within your community?
Well, I was definitely kind of worried at first. I thought this was a bit daunting. I was like, oh man, I'm going to reach out to like some people I've never talked to before, some people who are bigger in my community. And I was thinking, I'm pretty new to the e-bike community, but I've been putting out videos of me riding around and I narrate the videos and stuff. And I started watching people on YouTube who were doing this before and I thought it was really cool, which kind of led me to do it. Mm-hmm. So the people I reached out to were the people that I originally had watched their e-bike videos, and I was really entertained by them. And they have a lot of subscribers, and they know what they're doing, and they have like a regular workflow.
Which is, I think, another good way to even identify who you want to talk to or something, because people might not even know what direction to point. But exactly, someone who's doing the type of thing that you're trying to do, someone who's doing it well.
Exactly.
And, yeah, exactly. That's a really good start. So.
Yeah, so I reached out to two guys, Mr. Shreddy McSkate and Mr. Rusty Rhodes, which are two e-bike YouTubers. Mm-hmm. And I had recently put out one of my own e-bike videos, and I just sent them a quick message that said, hey guys, I really like your videos. I found them really inspirational. I went out and made my own e-bike videos. If you could check it out or give me some tips, that would be awesome. And I sent them the link. Very easy. There was no sort of pressure on them to respond or not, like whatever. It's up to you guys. Mm-hmm. And they both responded.
They did. Okay,
yep. Cool. They both sent me a message back and were like, oh, wow, thanks for reaching out. I'm glad you enjoy my videos. I'll definitely check out your video. Thanks a lot. And then one of the guys definitely left a comment on my YouTube page just being like, oh, yeah, this video was awesome. Like, this was really cool. And I actually found from that experience that I was having some camera troubles doing like with like the microphone and the camera and the e-bike and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to get some advice from somebody who'd, had experience with this kind of thing. So I reached out to him again and I was like, hey man, like, how do you, what's your rig for setting up your microphone and your camera? And we had like a cool little talk and he like helped me out with that. So I'm glad that I reached out originally because it's kind of, created enough of a relationship that I can ask, technical questions when it comes to filming e-bike videos.
Right. And you're not like asking him step by step every single time you have a question,
No.
but it's one of those, I wonder how to do this, oh, this guy might be able to actually help me. And you have a rapport at that point, right? So it's, nice. I did something very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh, no, it's all good. It's all good.
Nice. I did something very similar. I have a friend of mine who I know from other channels. He used to work in the music industry back in California, back in like the early 90s. And he used to manage bands, and he used to be really big on the California like punk scene or like underground rock scene. When Operation Ivy was getting big, and Korn was coming out, and little things like that. And so I reached out to him recently and was just like, hey, I'm managing my own project. I do production, I do songwriting, and all of this stuff. And can I pick your brain? Would you be down to sit and have a talk? And he was really nice. We've had a couple of conversations. Like we had this 1.5-hour conversation online at first. And then he was like, no, you know what you should do? If call me, like call me in a week or something. Like now you're on my radar. Let me check out your social media and your Spotify and stuff. And then he said, call me in a week, and we'll touch base, which was really cool. It was a really cool thing of him to even offer like to touch back in, to keep back in touch with me. And I wasn't really expecting that. And it was just a really nice thing. And since then we've had 2 or 3 phone calls, and he's really helped me to, the way that I look at my social media accounts, the way that I'm approaching my Instagram, the way that I'm approaching releases with songs. Like he's really being able to give me a good insight of how to do that and how to capitalize on it, especially if you're self-produced and you don't have like this giant, massive label support behind you and you're doing it all on your own. Because like the punk rock scene in the 90s was all DIY. It was all underground, right? And so he's really good at this sort of do-it-yourself home setup, which is kind of what I'm working with, and it's a really nice thing to have that kind of connection with somebody where there's actual genuine insight from someone who's achieved the thing that you're trying to achieve,
Yeah. I think like the kind of like learning point from this little exercise was that not always, but sometimes people are going to be a lot nicer and, more I want to say like, kind of like they're more willing to help you than you think. Like it's not always going to be that way. Some people are going to be busy. Some people won't respond. But take the chance, because some people are genuinely interested in helping you out and will respond.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't know if you don't ask, right? The worst thing that happens is you're in exactly the same boat as before. Somebody says no, or they don't respond. Like, what have you, like, now you have context for it. Like the only thing that's changed is now you know something that you didn't know.
The message that I sent out, definitely. I didn't 100% expect a response, and if I didn't get it, it would have been fine. It's just a quick little message, and it worked out well.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the first episode of Homework, and I'm really, it was a very good, because we've both been doing this for a while, but it was good to kind of go back to the start and really kind of reimagine or relook at the process from the beginning again with fresh eyes. It was encouraging, and it really cool. I remember when I got off the phone with the guy, it motivated me to like, oh no, now I need to really get on my shit, which not that I'm not on it, not that I'm not trying to push and succeed, but maybe I was a little bit lazy, or maybe I just took a week off, and it really motivated me to get back in on the horse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it was really cool that our we didn't know 100% that like what it would be like to do our own, assigned homework, and it worked out well. So
So what about
on to the next?
On to the next. Yes, we're gonna go bang, bang, bang with these.
So
episode
Tara,
2 was Tara. Exactly.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
we were talking. So yeah,
Tara was our second guest, and her homework was she wanted us to write some pessimistic tips into our notebooks / sketchbooks, and it was supposed to be specifically that things you have potential to do, but you probably won't do. And
This one confused me a little bit when she said it, but the more I looked at it, the more I was able to, like, you gain your own perspective on things as well. Because the homework, we're trying to keep it general. We don't know specifically what type of art each viewer is doing. Even you and I are doing sort of different artistic things, right? So you have to really do something in a way that it's going to be relevant to what you're trying to achieve, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, it's there's always been this thing in the entertainment industry where you don't say good luck, you say break a leg. You wish for a bad thing to happen because you don't want to jinx it. So if you wish for the bad thing to happen, it's sort of the superstition is that a good thing will happen instead. Whereas if you wish for a good thing, maybe you've jinxed it and a bad thing will happen. So I have been trying, I think, for a long time to not be too not count my chickens before they hatch, you know what I mean? And to not be too excited about something just because it might occur or just because the prospect is there. But it really made me, I hadn't been doing that in a while. And I sat back down again to like, I'm going to apply to some festivals, but I'm not going to get my hopes up that I'm going to get into these festivals. I'm going to approach this. It's like when you go into any negotiation. In order to be a good negotiator, you have to be willing to walk away with nothing. You have to be able to, at the drop of a hat, be like, oh, okay, this isn't going my way, so goodbye, right? You can't be desperate. And it was the same sort of underlying mentality where I would apply to festivals, but I'm like, if I don't get them, it's not the end of the world. Like, if I don't get into a festival this year, I'm still going to be able to eat. I'm still going to be able to pay my rent. I'm still going to be able to play shows, and my band is still going to be able to push forward. My production company is still going to get clients. And these are things that you have to sort of accept the negative aspects of the negative implications of what's going to come with what you're doing. And it made me remember that and not get my hopes up, which actually ended up getting me, like, because of that, I approached the email a little bit differently. I approached it as though, not like I didn't care, but like, if you want to have us, we'd be happy to play. And it really, like, it worked. We got into a couple of extra gigs that I don't think we would have. I think, like, bigger gigs with bigger shows, like bigger crowds, that I don't think we would have. I think we would have panicked a little bit if we approached it with too much of a serious tone or too much of a, no, we're really trying to succeed. Then we would have choked, like, we wouldn't have pushed as far as we did. And it was a good exercise in tricking your brain. So
That's cool.
yeah. What did you do?
Yeah, I wrote out some of these too, and I kind of used like the same sort of format. Like, it was like a tip to myself, something I wanted to do, but then a but that kind of either diffuse the situation with a bit of humor,
big,
or
stinky butt.
Yeah, just kind of put the bar a little bit lower, so it's easier to jump over. So I wrote a couple of these things, and I wrote like I can sell thousands of albums, but I wouldn't mind starting with 5.
Yeah. It just makes you look at it more realistically, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Of course I want to be rich and famous, but like, what are the odds of that happening tomorrow,
Yep. And I'm trying to make myself laugh. I'm trying to keep things, a bit lighthearted, and I put like I can be a great guitar player, but I'll probably peak at average.
Yeah.
Just having fun with them. I wrote like, I love myself, but not physically in public.
That's I mean, I'm pretty sure that's just a law, but like
it's just a statement.
Yeah,
it's just,
it's
just
a
a thing.
true statement.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I say, just real quick, that I am grateful that you don't do it physically in public.
Yep.
Yeah.
It keeps this podcast going, me not arrested.
It's
the way
hard.
to
It
go.
would be hard to have this conversation just with myself.
If I was like behind bars and you had to put the webcam in front, and this whole thing would be a lot different.
We might get more viewers I could do a podcast out of prison, but I probably shouldn't. Like,
instead of artists under construction, it'd be artists from prison.
Artists under incarceration.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, no, I liked the it forces you to look at something in the other way. Do you know what I mean? I liked the mental exercise that came with it, and that's I think that's the most important thing to take away from it is if you focus too much on one thing, or if you take it too seriously, or if you get caught up in certain specifics of things, then it can become overwhelming, and then you can really let yourself down if you don't achieve those things. If you put all your eggs into one basket, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a really good way to help disperse that, to help get the pressure off of my shoulders while still giving me the motivation and still giving me the I'm not saying I suck. I'm just saying if you say I suck, it's not going to hurt my feelings, you know? Yeah.
I think this exercise is really good for when you do feel like a task is too daunting.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can just say like what is it that you want out of the task? Like write that down and just write something, like realistic after. And I don't think you need to do this all the time or regularly, but maybe any time that you do feel something's a bit too challenging, like write this kind of stuff out. Like, what do you want out of the situation? And then like a but to sort of, make the situation a little bit less hard on yourself.
Like there's the things, they'll say things like The Secret, that book and movie thing that came out a while ago. And, The Secret is just like, it's the power of intention and manifestation. And if you want something hard enough, you will will it into existence, which is a really good approach. That's sympathetic magic is what it is. It's very much just, I'm doing things in order to manifest the reality that I want. And like the opposite is also true. You can turn around and do something you can will something into existence by not wanting it as well. Like hypochondriacs and stuff, like people who get themselves sick. I don't think they want to be sick, but the power of their own will might make them feel these symptoms sometimes, even though they don't necessarily want to feel that way. So your negative, I don't want this, if you have that strong enough, could bring the same thing into existence. And it's a really good exercise in just, that other side of that other approach to the same end. Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely the kind of person that if you tell me I can't do something, that's immediately what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can't climb that. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is go try to climb that. Like that's
exactly.
And so writing these kind of things, like I can write a song, but I probably won't. It's kind of challenging me. It's like, well, you know what? Now I'm going to write it just because I said I'm not going to.
I also tend to be very, I get a little bit of stage fright before I go on stage every time. And it goes away. Like, after the first song or two, it goes away. But, as soon as somebody's like, oh, don't worry, you're going to do fine. I'm like, don't say that to me. Like, you have just made me think about it more than I cared to
Tell
think
me
about
I'm going to do horrible.
Yeah,
Tell me
exactly.
I'm going to bomb. Because that actually helps. I don't know why.
Yeah, then I succeed out of spite almost. And
yes.
That's exactly the way that I approached this homework and what I took away from it. And it works. I do think it works if you do it seriously and properly. So
Yeah, so try the exercise. It's fun.
Yeah, I agree. If you haven't already, maybe you've done it.
Yeah.
Hopefully you've done it. So, and then we had one more. We had Justin was our third guest so far. We have many more guests coming, but so far we have had Red Dragon, we've had Tara C. Taylor, and we've had Justin McHugh. And Justin's homework was try something new with something old is the way that I've been looking at it. Like something that you're familiar with, try to get a new sound out of it or a new use out of it or a new technique out of it that you're not familiar with, right?
Exactly. Like repurpose equipment you already have or a technique you already have. And we were talking about artists being locked down during COVID and just, you can't get to the music store. So use the stuff you have in different creative ways.
Mm-hmm. And what did you do regarding that then?
So for me, I've actually been working on something for a little bit, which is just, I have like a song where I do finger picking and I play it on the steel acoustic, like a guitar. And I wanted to be able to do the strumming for the rest of the song without a pick. So then I wouldn't have to like kind of hold it and finger pick it. Like
yeah,
just
like
for this one
sometimes you put a
song.
pick on top of the guitar, you keep it in your mouth or something so that you
Yeah.
can switch back. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So for this one song, I really wanted to be able to strum the rest of the song after I finished the finger picking part with just my hands. So what I was doing was I was doing alternative picking exercises without using a pick, and I was trying to get my timing to be like on par and like the chords to ring out in the same way that it would with a pick, and it was challenging, but it was a fun exercise.
So like you're using your thumb or your fingers to strum the chords instead.
I'm using just my fingers, and normally I'll use like my thumb to like keep a beat against like the body of the acoustic guitar, and then I'll be using my fingers up and down the same way I would be strumming the pick up and down, up and down.
Very nice. Yeah. But on a steel
yes.
string, because that's like a flamenco guitar technique. Like they do that on nylon string guitars, but the strings are sort of designed to not hurt, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're designed to let you use that technique. So if you're doing it on a steel string, that's really you must have calluses that I can't consider right now. That seems a little bit.
And I'm
I'm scared to try that.
I've been doing it like pretty aggressively, so like I'm at the point now where my hand is just expects it.
Yeah. That's no, but that's a really cool thing. Do you have like a way to measure how good your technique is or anything like that, or?
Yeah, so one of the things I've been doing, like the two ways that I do it is either I play with the drum machine or I do exercises in the game Rocksmith.
Rocksmith, not Rock Band, because Rock Band is like it's like Guitar Hero, right? There's just buttons on the guitar. And stuff. Yeah. But Rocksmith is the one where you plug like a real guitar into it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like you can learn songs in Rocksmith, but what I think is the best thing about Rocksmith is the small exercise high score section that they have. And they have all sorts of different mini games, and then like a top 10 high score, and you just keep trying to like beat, your old score. And some of them is like, hit the chords, and every time you hit a chord, it's like a blast that kills a spaceship, and you try to kill the most spaceships. But they have like a rhythm exercise that's specifically to help you with your alternative picking. And I play that game without a pick, and I try to, just nail it.
Fair, yeah, and then if it's reading on the like if the controller is registering it like it's one continuous strum, then that's a pretty good judge of like how smooth your picking is with individual fingers, right?
Exactly, because like if I strum with like all of my fingers kind of like at a time, like my index hits, then my middle finger hits, then my pinky, it doesn't strum properly and it doesn't register. So it's really helping me pretend I'm a pick.
Dude, I learned to sing. I taught myself to sing with Rock Band, with the other game, because it was cool because you could sing into it and there was a little needle that went up and down as your voice went up and down.
I love that thing.
Yeah, and it genuinely allowed me to visualize like, oh, when I go up by like a semitone, like the needle moves this much, right? And so and it allowed me to visualize the note I was aiming for and the note I was on, and it took a while. Like you have to properly practice it, like it's a technique. You can't just do it once and then, oh no, I can sing. But like if you do it consistently and you get familiar with how to like feel your body react to this, that's what a correct playthrough feels like, on your voice or on your hand. Like then you can do that without the game. Then you can translate that to like you can properly do it, live in front of a crowd or what have you.
Yeah, Rock Band, I remember that game really making me very aware of how limited my range was, because I'd go up, I'd be like, and then like the needle would not make it all the way. I'd go down, it would not make it all the way. I'm like, crap, I need more range.
And in your head, you're like, no, I'm nailing it, but like you don't have, your ear hasn't developed enough to tell you that you're not there, right? And so that's what I mean. Like, so if you're strumming, like you might think that you've nailed it, but if the machine isn't registering that you've nailed it, then it doesn't matter how good it sounds to you. Like for the most part, I mean, it is a digital machine, but it makes you very aware that like your ears might trick you until you're trained properly in them. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Because before I started using the Rocksmith thing, I definitely noticed my chords were a bit muddier.
Right.
And when the chord was too muddy, it didn't pick up in the game. So I really had to work on my clarity.
Which, and you approach like the shape of your hand or the posture that you have, like all of this becomes a factor that you just didn't consider, that you were just like, no, it works, and you actually see it like on the screen and you're like, oh, it doesn't actually work. And
so in a way, I repurposed my video game and I worked on a new technique.
Two for one.
My pick.
2 for 1.
Yeah.
I also repurposed some digital electronics. I have this little synth MIDI trigger here, which I usually use it just to like cue in some synth lines if I'm producing something, or I'll practice my piano on it. Like it's a good little touch sensitive thing. But that's pretty much what I used it for. But I don't know if you can see. There are these little buttons up top. You can't quite see. I'm going to try to turn.
Not really.
Here. I'm going to try to turn my screen a little bit so that you can get a better sense of it. But there's these little buttons.
Oh, I see them.
Going,
I see the
yeah,
knobs,
right? And then there's these little faders and knobs up here. And I've actually started using these faders and knobs as controllers in my DAW, in my audio engineering software. And I use Reaper for my audio engineering, which, just as a side note, amazing program, and I highly recommend it. But what I've done is now, instead of having to like turn a fader with my mouse on the screen, I can literally adjust the panning with these knobs, or adjust the volume levels with these knobs. And the top half of this MIDI controller has basically become my mix board, which I could invest in a mix board. I could have one properly set up on my on my desk here, and I do intend to do that. But like, it was an option that was available to me. It's a piece of equipment that I have, and I was able to, like, in that moment, just like, now I don't have to invest in a mix board. Now I have something that can serve that function. I've learned how to, not only have I gotten a little bit better, like, you can be a little more finite with your adjustments. Like, the mouse doesn't give you quite as much control. So like, you can be a lot better, you can have a lot more control with the knobs and faders on here. But also, it's taught me how to program MIDI controllers in a different way. It's taught me a little bit about the coding of Reaper and the coding of the program. Like, I had to learn a few different things that I wasn't familiar with just in order to make that happen. And just to try to make, like, this knob here is going to adjust my panning from left to right. Just to make that happen on my screen, it took me 10 minutes to figure out how to do that, to actually, apply it to the program and get the program to read my MIDI controller. And that alone has, it's shaved so much time off of my mixing. It's shaved so much. It's made the sound better because I have this more acute control over each of my plugins and all of this. It's really helped out. And exactly, like, you start doing it for one thing, you start repurposing a thing for one other purpose, and then you learn 2 or 3 other skills just along the way that you didn't even factor in you were going to have to learn. Like, they just sort of come with the process, and it was a growth experience, and that's the whole point of why we do this podcast and what the show's about. So
yeah, I think it's really cool that, like, we kind of theorized that, like, it would be helpful that our guests, because our guests are knowledgeable artists, and maybe they could give one little exercise that would help, because we didn't want to overburden ourselves or our listeners. But all 3 exercises have turned out really well for us, and if you haven't already done them, we highly recommend them because they've helped us grow. They weren't that hard to do.
And the results are almost immediate. Like, it's not like it took me a month to figure out how to do this or anything like that. Like, it was 10, 15 minutes. But I actually sat down and did it. You know what I mean? Like, I had some spare time. Not even spare time. Like, I was about to go into a mix session. But it was a brand new mix session. It wasn't one I was in the middle of or anything. It was like, okay, I'm starting this new. So I'm going to, like, 10, 20 minutes earlier, I sat down and was like, can I do this? And can I set this up? And it turned out that it didn't take that long. It took 15 minutes to set it all up, and it immediately made that next session go smoother. It wasn't like you think that you're going to have to climb this giant mountain, and you don't have to climb this giant mountain. It's not a steep slope. It's a very gradual, like, you move forward, you move upward, and you do it at a comfortable pace where you're not getting tired, where you're not overburdening yourself. And yeah, it's not nearly as scary as it looks.
Oh yeah, I don't know if this is the case across the board, but I think a lot of artists just sort of underestimate their worth. And like
Yeah.
with all of these exercises, there was the networking, there was like the pessimistic tips, there was the repurposing equipment. You think, oh, I'm not smart enough or talented enough to repurpose equipment that quickly. It's going to take me ages. I'm not so big of an artist, so cool that these people are going to respond to me when I try to network. But it's
you
you're
don't know if
underestimating.
you don't try. That's really what it comes
Exactly.
down to. Like, you will never succeed if you keep avoiding the finish line. You know.
Mm-hmm.
It's really quick on this note because I was hosting an open mic night last week, and I was talking to one of the performers afterward, and she's in her early 20s. She's just going to school for. She wants to be a full-time musician, and she's doing all of the right things to go down this road. And we were talking about it. And she's like, yeah, but I've only got like 5 of my own original songs, and I've only got like, maybe 15 minutes worth of material. And I know I need to have more than that. Like, I know I'm not ready to go and just like headline a show. And I said to her, like, all you need to do is get 10, maybe 15 songs. But you know what I mean? Like you don't have to do too much more than what you've got. You've already got 5, and just do that.
Throw in 2 or 3 more covers, and you got a set.
Exactly, and then that's the thing. You don't have to start with headlining. You just have to, you just have to start, and then you see what happens. Like, you're not gonna, you don't know what you're good at until you fail at things. You don't know what to improve on until you haven't done something correctly, and so that's. And she was just very nervous and like, yeah, one day. And I tried really hard to just express to her, like, no, do it tomorrow. I mean, no pressure, and I'm not trying to intimidate anybody, but like, if you do it now, then, in a year, you're going to be like, I'm so happy I did it then, as opposed to it's still a task in front of you. You know what I mean? Just pull up your pants, pick up your tools, pull up your slacks, and do it. And you'd be amazed at how little it actually, like, it's not going to set you back. The timing, the like, everything. It's really straightforward. And once you've done it, you've done it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I think that's it. I think those are our 3 current pieces of homework. I mean, I've had a blast doing this. I'm enjoying our podcasts. We have some great people coming up for the next couple of episodes. I'm really looking forward to sharing them with the viewers at home. Yeah, so we'll let you guys get back to that. So if you haven't already, please like and subscribe and tune in to Artists Under Construction. We do new episodes as often as we can. We have new people. We're interviewing new people every week, and so we just want to bring you as many tips and tricks and life hacks and ways to pursue your dream as we can possibly give you.
Yeah, and if you're working on anything and you want some helpful exercises, or you want to try to get it covered on one of our episodes, let us know. We're willing to talk about anything that our community needs covered.
Or maybe you are yourself an artist and you have some helpful tips and tricks that you can share with the community. Let us know, and we will sit down and we will have a conversation with you. And it's all about growth and connectivity and community.
Yeah, if you want to be on the show, let us know. If you just have advice we can give people over the show, reach out to us. That can be part of your networking homework. Comment.
Yeah, exactly. We can be your networking homework. We're happy to do it, guys. You can send us a message in the comments section, or you can go to aucpod@gmail.com. We check these things regularly. We hope to hear from you guys soon, and we're looking forward to bringing you more great quality content.
Yep. We love you. Like and subscribe. Keep watching, and reach out to us because we like hearing from you.
Absolutely. Until next time, guys, I've been Moves Johnson.
I've been Neon Tom. Thank you for watching.
Artists Under Construction. See you soon.
Yay. Bye, guys.
2, 1, 1, 2.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was fun.